I'm going to call the meeting to order. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing no changes, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving to the approval of minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes of October 17th, 2020, regular meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or changes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of the minutes for October 21st, 2020, the special meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Any changes? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes of October 28th, 2020, special meeting. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or changes? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? I have no remarks for this evening. John, GM report? Sorry? Your report?
Oh, okay, sorry. Put me off guard. Okay, so good evening, everybody. GM team report. Let's start off with the proposed budget overview since that's coming up for 2021-22. I can tell you the team is fully engaged, on track, if anything, ahead of last year. So some key dates, just want to go through for the association and everybody else. Proposed budget bond is to be delivered to the board and B&F committee on Friday, December 18th, on track. Prepared based upon B&F and board guidance, utilizing a bottoms-up approach. Every department head will be involved in their budgets as well as their number twos and will be a part of the presentation to the B&F and of course the board. B&F committee presentation is scheduled for January 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Board will conduct work sessions on the budget Tuesday, January 19th and Wednesday, January 20th. GM will publish recommended budget on Friday, January 29th. Saturday, February 6th, 9 a.m., board conducts hearing on recommended budget. Saturday, February 20th, 9 a.m., board conducts final hearing and approves the budget. Continue on the GM team report, and it is a team report. So on the personnel issue, the following have been completed for fiscal year 1920. All performance reviews, Siegel salary adjustments. If you remember, we brought in an outside consulting firm that handled all our salary levels, grading, and recommended increases approved by the board. All that has been implemented, and it has gone well. Merit raises have been given out. Goals and objectives have been reviewed and signed off on, and it was a good year across the board for the team. The following are in process. We have a 6-month performance review that'll go on right after the holiday. It'll be a high level between me and my direct reports, and of course that will be cascaded down. Goals and objectives for 2021, all my direct reports have basically filled them out. We've reviewed them, and we will monitor them with key dates. The goals and objectives have definitely been a key tool for the whole team to achieve the results that they have done for the last year or two. Succession planning, I've been tasked to have succession planning for all my direct reports. That's in place. I have sent that to the board. We're currently also working on our number twos, and we have very strong number twos to have backups for that also. A lot of cross-training, a lot of benchmarking, and diversified experience, and it's helping the team. Next page, RFPs. As you know, we have 2 RFPs. We've received that back. Michelle Bennett is leading the one on waste services. It was mailed on September 21st. As you know, bids were due on November 9th. Michelle and the team received 2 bids. She has gotten approval to go further on negotiations, and she will work on that. Accounting services, RFP mailed on October 12th. Bids were due on November 2nd. 3 bids were received and are being evaluated by the finance team. We will meet with the CFO in the next step. I will probably get something from Steve any day now. We will have the recommendation for the December board meeting. Turn the page. Let's talk about Northstar, our software system. And as you know, we completed a lot of construction. All the construction was on target, was on budget, if not favorable. So the budget for Northstar was $400,000. To date, we've spent approximately $448,000. As far as if I break this down, besides the consultant that we had in the Northstar system, basically all the increase to the budget happened with the outside consultant. Just an overview of Northstar and what you've heard me talk about for the last year. And it's definitely the way to go, to put a system in regardless of which one we picked. But this is a system, and probably any system we put in would have needed a high degree of customization. We are certainly seeing that, and that obviously affects it. But I think we knew going in that we would have to do that. There was no one-size-fits-all for Ocean Pines. Okay, so with that, I just want to highlight how do we look at this for success, and this is key for everybody. Success is measured by front-end users, departments, and amenities embracing the system. With something like this, I can tell you, and I've spoken about the people that have stepped up, the leaders in our organization that have embraced that, whether it's in aquatics, rec and parks, finance, memberships, CPI now, and I just need all the other amenities and everybody to embrace this system in order for it to be successful. Okay, it will take more time. As I'm putting here, the staff will continue work on the system for 6 months to 1 year. That's not uncommon as far as I'm concerned with a system like this. The finance side, the GL, all that is in place. But this is something that will go on over a time period. Okay, turn the page. So in the last board meeting, I highlighted golf, and we did a deep dive into golf, and there's a lot of good stuff happening there. I just want to highlight tonight, the Racket Center. We've done a lot of work there. I want to highlight what the team has done and what we are doing, because there is a lot of good stuff going on down there. So there was a lot of work done on concrete. There was replacement done. We brought in an outside individual who also did a lot of work for us at the clubhouse. It was very successful. We were able to resurface as opposed to redoing, and we did save a lot of money on the budget on that. There is a dedicated public works employee there who's working on maintenance and doing a lot. We repaired and replaced bathroom fixtures, flooring, and paint. That was all done in-house by the public works team. New lights and bulbs were put in, and we continue to look at that. It's probably the next step we're looking at for some lights for the other courts. This is key. We repaired the fence and windscreens for platform tennis. Somewhere back in March, April, there were some windstorms. There was damage done there, and that has been corrected. It took a little time, but we believe that we've improved it. It was also difficult to get outside contractors to come in during the COVID. So it took a little more time than we hoped, but it's there now. We're currently working on estimates for replacements of sections of the fence between the established pickleball courts and tennis courts. If anybody's been down there, the pipe, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on those fences. I'm surprised that it went this long. We received 3 bids. In addition to that, I asked the Public Works team, and I've put together a work group that we will use and utilize going forward for all this type of work. And there'll be a support group for whether it's the Racket Center, whether it's aquatics or golf, that they will go in and do the estimates. They have the best background on it. So we went in there, our team did, and they did an estimate. They did a deep dive into this thing and came up with an estimate what we can do in-house just to certify and confirm the lowest bid that we received, which was around $8,300. We did receive bids up in the $50,000 range. But I'm comfortable with what our team did to evaluate this, and we've run that by the Racket team, and we signed off on that. It's $8,300, and I'm hoping to get that outside company. Novi Violante met with them today to go through everything to make sure that everything we saw needed to be done, that they did, and just to confirm on all the type of pipes and everything that was needed there. So hopefully that gets done over the next couple of weeks. Next page, got some, hopefully you can see that. I have some dashboard. I tried to put together dashboards, and the team obviously puts this information together for me to answer questions that I've received from board members, as well as what we believe is needed. So on the CPI violations, you see, and I believe I've come forward at least once, if not twice, 2 months already with this kind of format. So you can see as of September, there was 148 violations. We broke down what are new violations, the closed, and then the balance, and then the legal cases. So you can see where we're making progress. What I do want to highlight, and I will be coming to the board with in December, is that after a re-review of some of the violations that went to legal, Chris Woodley came back to us and said to me that we don't need to go further on legal status with at least 12 of the ones that we had, that we can ourselves go in. And I have the documentation. I'll bring it to the board next board meeting, because I think I'm being told that I need board approval. But they're basically roof cleaning and items like that. It's nothing, we would not go in there and take something like an old Weber grill that somebody might say is trash. We can't do that. But this is work that we can do. All right, so that'll be next time. But you can see from the metrics that progress is being made since the changes made by the board. Turn the page. Delinquent accounts, I have that in there because obviously the changes, the COVID, the extensions, but the good news on this, and again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's there. If anybody has any questions, you can email me and we'll certainly get back with more detail. But the bottom line is it's improving. You can see the numbers in October, and then how much of the October number, the 549, how much of that is 1 year or less, and the number of delinquent lots currently with the attorney. So based upon everything going on, the team has comfort compared to other years and everything else going on that we're in a decent place.
John, can I interrupt you for just a minute? Because this delinquent report issue came up at the executive council meeting, and Jim Trummel's position was that we have never reported on this. Now, I know we have, because I reported on it twice, and so here we are again.
When you say report, are you talking that I put numbers up there, or?
Well, this kind of numbers would be sufficient, but I think I'm going to ask Doug for the next meeting to take what you have and add some dollar numbers to it to show what number of cases we have with council and what our outstanding delinquent debts are. So that we can and prepare a motion so it can be formally reported on. It has to be done once a year. Yeah.
Yeah, Larry, to follow up on that, I actually had a casual conversation with Frank Daly. Frank had started that process last year when he started to have a list of all of the delinquent accounts. And I asked him, if we could kind of pick up where we left off. We kind of left it dormant. So I think this is a great starting point. And, I'm going to ask if I can work with Frank, and maybe we can start to pull that together and start to monetize exactly what's out there, so we take a better look at what the delinquent accounts are affecting our assessments.
Well, I don't think you need to do that, because Ruth Ann has all this information at her fingertips.
Yeah, I know, but I think, but we're also going to look for a solution too.
And that's fine, but what I would like is for you to bring forward a motion next meeting, give a report, and then so we accomplish the requirement to do a report on this once a year.
Agreed. Let's talk about the details offline. That's fine.
That's fine. I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, okay, so whatever's needed, Doug, whatever you need.
Can I ask a quick question? How does that, I don't know if you know the answer off the top of your head, how does that compare to last year?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty good. It's not nowhere near way higher. It's pretty much in line with last year.
Okay.
Okay? Yep.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
John,
All right.
Frank has one.
Oh, Frank.
By the way, I took a look at this with a work group. My understanding is they give a report every February to the board. They did not do so last February because of the COVID pandemic. So from a reporting standpoint, I don't know if that satisfies the requirement, but it has been done.
Correct.
That's my understanding. It has been done.
Yeah, there's a discrepancy here, an interpretation between what Jim Trummel feels is complying with the bylaws, the resolution, and what we've done. The numbers have been reported. A lot, and we just had the same discussion on the election report.
Right.
And, the bylaws say it has to be reported, but Jim believes we need to formally do a motion and accept it. I'm not sure I agree with that, but it's a minor point, so let's just do it and cover the base.
Okay, that's fine. Alrighty, let's get into some financials, right? It's that time for that. All right, so, with the 13th workday and all that, I believe the 13th workday is tomorrow. To be consistent, what I am doing is I will give you the actuals for September, but I will also give a flash report tonight for October. I believe that Steve, from the emails and the discussions I had with him today, I believe he'll probably have them done tomorrow. But I have enough, I believe, for tonight to go through with you to satisfy up to date with a flash for October. So with that, let's do September. We got some good numbers here. Let me just get my bearings. So for September, I give a high overview here. You can see the budget, the current year, where we are in net revenues and expenses. So the budget compared to the current year for net revenues was favorable for the month, and our expenses were decreasing. We've cut back on a lot because of COVID, some stuff we couldn't do, but everybody's been diligent across the board, and we actually are trying to catch back up, and I will ask for some equipment tonight. But the bottom line is this: it's approximately $150,000 approximately favorable for the month. All right. So where did that favorability come? Well, a lot of it was cost cutting or holding back right now. Most of it was public works and general maintenance. That was about $55,000. Public relations were favorable. Compliance of permits, we jump-started that area, so we got a lot more of that one actually was revenue. Police and fire are usually pretty much on track. The racket sports are kind of balancing out and doing better. Rec and parks were favorable. Aquatics were favorable for the month. Golf operations were favorable, $17,000. Clubhouse was favorable. Clubhouse grill favorable, $12,000. Beach club is all favorable. So there's the 150. We really didn't have anything on the negative side, some stuff in general administration. So that's where we were for the month. It was pretty much across the board. And I was pretty consistent with last year.
John,
Yes.
and I'm sorry, you probably said this last month. Is the PPP money gone now? We've utilized all of that, so that's not included.
Correct. August, I believe it was August. We had a small piece, Tom. I think it was about 50,000, but correct. It's all done. The million, I think it was $1,143,000 for us, and then on the Madwart side and the food and beverage, that's all also included. That was about $271,000. But yes, you're right. Okay. So on the year to date, so let's talk about this number because I do read a lot about it, and I do want to talk about it as I have to everybody. So we're favorable, the $1,133,000, and you can see we're favorable on the revenues as well as the expenses to budget. A lot of it is on the expenses. A lot of that is in public works and general maintenance, a lot of the work that we couldn't do. Also, the team has been involved with a lot of new construction. We have also been favorable. If you look at public works, general maintenance, I don't want to say the general amend. That's where the $976,000 is, as Tom mentioned. That's the net number, and that's where the PPP is, $1,143,000. Yacht Club was favorable, as well as the marinas came in $50,000 favorable. So that pretty much adds up to the $1,000,001. But yeah, a big part of it is. Obviously, it's basically all. If you would look at it, everything else nets out, and it's the PPP. As far as for the rest of the year, well, I'll touch on that when I do October, but I will give a high level on that. As I mentioned from the beginning, because of COVID and no playbook on this stuff, we haven't been given guidance on it, but I will give something when I do the October numbers, the flash. All right, turn the page. All right, so that was the September numbers, right, that I went through, and you could see that basically across the board, everything was favorable. The general admin, the yacht club was off, but the bottom line across the board, everything was favorable. Okay, pretty easy. The next page has the detail. You can see at the top, the general admin, which has the PPP of $1,143,000. Keep in mind, and I've mentioned this before, when you look at the numbers, all the numbers except for the yacht club, those numbers are numbers without PPP, right? We segregated it. But when you look at the yacht club, when you look at the beach club, they being Madwat, they included the PPP in there. So embedded in their numbers is the $271,000, whereas we broke it out separately. We've agreed to do it that way. I'm fine with it. I've reported that way as long as I highlight it. Okay. And if anything, I want to highlight there that Clubhouse Grill is first year. Each week, each month, it's just getting better, even with the COVID. Golf has done really well, and I've spoken about that in other months. I'm anticipating racket sports, and I think everybody is. They're feeling good there. Aquatics, obviously, with the 50% and all the restrictions they had, they did the best they can. Beach parking, we lost that, and that's just a part of the COVID. I mean, otherwise, that one we always make money on. Keep in mind, the marina did really well this year. They always do well. They did even better. Okay? Turn the page. Just got a couple pictures. I like to have some pictures in there. That's Ocean Pines. It's not. I want somebody else to say it's not Augusta, but that's Ocean Pines. I actually have three of them. I just want to show you that. I guess a couple months ago, a lot of people rushed to judgment. A lot of people went to the papers. A lot of emails flying about how terrible they were. And look, they did have a situation. I've updated that. The team, everybody, we have found the root cause. We're addressing it. We've made changes. I've talked about the Ninja Tines. We've actually just did one this week, which was the 4th. We said we would do somewhere between 4 and 6 before the end of the year. We also did the Verticut, which is a new way to thatch. We bought and it was only a couple $1,000s for the attachments for that. You could see a major difference with that. We're also changing the nitrogen type of fertilizer that we're using, which was recommended to us by the consultant. This Bermuda grass is a special type of grass. It's excellent for putting, but it does have it does need special care. I believe now, and we've given examples of it, this Ninja Tine is definitely doing the job for that, as well as the Verticut. We're using different mowers on it, especially when there's times of stress. And you can see what they look like. We didn't have to wait for the spring, all right? I got a couple pictures. That's another green. This one I believe is, it's 11, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see what it looks like. That's not 11, that's 3. Okay, yeah, that's 3. Yeah, the other one was 11. Yep, I see 2 over there. Okay, so there's three taken at random today. I asked them to send me 3 pictures quick. That's it. If anybody's played the course, I can tell you this. The numbers are showing. That place is packed. It just shows we've done some investment in there. We've made some changes. I am going to ask for a piece of equipment tonight. And you put a little money in there, do little things differently. And maybe some of it is the COVID or whatever, but I can tell you the place is packed. I'm going to turn the page. Okay, so here's the flash I was telling you about. All right, so this is the month of October. Again, we're favorable. It's after October where we usually have a drain on cash and a drain on our expenses. So this one was actually pretty good, better than I was expecting, and I'll go through why. But again, favorable in net revenues, favorable in expenses, and a lot of the expenses we've held back, and we are now, because now we see where our cash position with all the assessments and everything where we're at, we're a little more comfortable to go back now and purchase some of the items that wasn't in an approved budget from the beginning of the year, okay? So let's look at that 130, let's break it down. Let's talk about golf at 130. Golf operations was favorable in October, 17,000. Clubhouse Grill, 15,000. Love it. Rec and Parks, 31,000. Shout out there to the team and all the team, right? Not just these teams. Public Works and General Maintenance was favorable, 80,000. Again, that's money we're going to need going forward. We've put off a lot of items, but we are looking at that and certainly looking at ways to save money there. We're looking at 13 vehicles. I have an analysis that Noby and Eddie did for me, where we looked at 13 trucks. We want to go to auction with 9 of them. We believe we don't need these 9 trucks. So we would be lowering our amount of trucks in our fleet by 9. The savings would be, the estimate on auction is somewhere, we'd probably get 70 to 90,000 for these trucks and cars. And we'd probably save $3,000 to $5,000 on each for maintenance. A big part of it's maintenance. They're pretty much fully depreciated. So ways of looking to save money, to save cash. We are looking at 4 out of the 13 to replace, which we will be coming forward to the board and to the Budget and Finance in the budget process. Okay, so ways of saving money. I believe I can go and bring these trucks to auction. Is that correct, or do I need board approval?
No, you got it.
Thank you. Okay, and then we'll keep you updated on that. All righty? That's all I got.
Before Doug does his report, I want to make for the record that Director Rogers has been excused from the meeting tonight. Doug?
So, next slide, please. So, as compared to last month, the overall rate of return now is 1.0% on our investments and CDRs. It was 1.8% last month. I don't think that's a warning flag right now, but it is an indication that we have to watch that closely. As of this end of September, our cash position was $13.4 million, and you can see how it's broken down in both the CDRs and the money market vehicles. Not too much of a change from last month. I believe last month we were at 13.8 million. So we have spent some money on the operating side. Next slide, please. This is, again, I've been keeping track of the assessments as they're collected as of the end of, and this reflects as of the end of September. I'm sorry, the end of October. We are collected a total of $8.7 million of the $9.2 million that were there. We're at the 95th percentile, which compared to other years is about where we expect to be. We're always in between 96 and 98%, so we're getting there. But again, before I paint too rosy of a picture, that does indicate a $409,000 shortfall against what we expected to collect with regard to assessments. So kudos to those that have played. I encourage those who can still pay to please do so that we can meet our budget requirements. And again, I'll continue to track this as we move forward. Next slide. This slide is pretty much unchanged from August. The balance is 5.6 at the beginning of the fiscal year. The assessment and interest collections are still the same. The casino funds are still have not unchanged. And the spend on the transfer line there is the same as it was last month. We had no capital expenses requested by operations last month. So as of the end of September, the balance in all of our reserve accounts is $7.1 million. Next slide, please. And as we do every month, this hasn't changed from the previous month. We are keeping track of all of the spend associated with our reserve accounts, both planned and unplanned. As of right now, again, I said we didn't have any real changes from the previous month. We are still targeting a balance in our reserve accounts at the end of this fiscal year of $5.1 million. Now, that's our target date or that's our target number. Should anything happen that would require us an emergency spend or some other kind of request that was paramount to the successful operation of our environment, we certainly would have to consider adjusting that and spending as needed. But the target remains the same, and we'll try to manage to that number. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Public comment?
Dick Neiman, 45 Wood Duck, and I'll only take a minute to. Number one, I want to compliment the board because I don't think it's COVID-19. If there was problems or issues or people were irritated with what you're doing,
there'd be more than me here, and I'm not irritated. See, I'm happy. One thing that just occurred to me, I wasn't going to say anything, but when you brought up the assessments that were unpaid, when you put that together again, Doug, and I guess Frank, it'd be nice not just to put dollars with it. It'd be interesting if you could get it simply to find a couple other organizations such as us, homeowners, and find out what is a normal delinquency rate, number one. I know this is an abnormal year. And if you look at, I'm just saying 500,000 outstanding. I'm just saying what you got in lots plus times 1,000, rough estimate. You're looking at all the, say, 8,000, 8,500 homes in Ocean Pines paying another, I'm guessing about $50 to $60 of their assessment is going to cover bad debts. Not bad debts, but uncollected debts, let me put it that way. Consequently, in theory, if you're getting enough in your budget right now, then that would mean that I would be able to give, you guys would be able to give me back and every other homeowner in Ocean Pines $50 to $60. The other thing is, if you just leave it the way it is, if you were to collect that, not just looking for example of drainage there, about $500,000. That would have paid for drainage. So there's an opportunity cost. I'm not upset with what's happening, but if you could put it into more perspective for the homeowners, I think that would be interesting to see. Might put some pressure where it needs to be. I don't know. But you see, we're missing an opportunity. $500,000 would go a long way for roads around here again, too. Roads, drainage, $500,000 go a long way. So if you could present something there that would say, here's the dollars, that's what it's costing us, and here's some of the opportunities that we could have had for that $500,000, would be interesting. Thank you very much, and I'll get out of here. You can have your own party then. See?
Any other public comments? All right, seeing none. John, capital purchase request?
Okay, so coming forward for two items of equipment, for John Deere Tractor for Public Works and for a rough mower. So turn the page. So the John Deere Tractor is in the budget. We did put off a delay because of the COVID and all that. I have to, just like anything else and with COVID, equipment, material, wood, everything is going up. We are comfortable now, and we do need this tractor, and Public Works needs this tractor to save on labor and to do the cleaning of the ditches for the drainage. So this is a big one. Was approved in the budget. So we're coming forward now. We have the bids. It is higher, approximately 35,000 higher than what we had in the budget. There has been a lot of increases. We believe we can get the tractor, if I get approval tonight, in 6 to 7 weeks. So requesting authorization to go forward in 2021 budget with staff recommendation of $150,250 for an Atlantic tractor. I believe you have all the detail on there. We have the 3 bids. We have pictures of it and everything, what it does. This is something needed for drainage, and it's in the budget.
Is there any, someone want to make a motion to authorize the spend? Doug?
No, I move that we approve the request for the spend for the tractor for the Public Works in the amount of $150,250.28 as quoted by our general manager.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. Is there all in favor? on the
Aye.
motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And I forgot to mention that is a replacement. Okay, next, this item, hold on, I just lost my plug. This item is a golf maintenance rough mower. It's not in the budget for 2021, but it is a replacement item. We do have one of the problems we have with cutting the rough, and if you have played golf there over the last several years, the rough, for one reason or another, is very high, or was high. It's not high anymore. And I've made sure, and we've made sure, to keep that rough low. But with that said, we need the proper equipment to do it. We have a mower. We actually have 2 of them. They're Jacobsons. They don't make them anymore. They're pretty run down. One of them basically doesn't work. We use it for parts. So I'm requesting with a team, let me read it. Requesting authorization to go forward with staff recommendation for $66,732 for a turf equipment supply company mower. You have all the specs and everything on it. It is a floating head mower. I know I got some questions. It is not a central cut mower. It has the heads on the side. I think it's 3 on each side. It's a top notch. It's a highly recommended tractor. We need it. This is not in the budget, $66,732.
Someone, is there a motion?
So moved.
You want to be a little
I'll
more specific?
second.
Be a little more specific, Frank?
Okay. I move that we approve the request for $66,732.30 for a rough mower for the golf course amendment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
I have
Tom?
some. Can you, why, just quickly, is there a reason why we don't have, I mean, there, you got the rough mower, which I understand, and they got the one that they want, which is the 4300D, which is the one we're recommending for approval. Why do we not have 3 bids on the exact same mower? Is this the only company that does the Toro Groundmaster 4300D? Because it's, I mean, I see 3 bids, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, the one's a bigger mower, which is going to be obviously higher, and the other one's a John Deere that's obviously too big. So I don't even know why we would ask for that. That's just my question. I don't.
No, I understand your question. I mean, I can go back. That is what they got me from each one. I understand the question. You know, they're different. I understand there's different types. Some of these services, they don't carry Toro, or they only carry John Deere. Those are the ones down here. So that's the main answer for that, to be honest with you, Tom. You know, they did do a lot of research. There's a lot in there. If you want, we can go back, but I mean, for $66,000, I think they're showing you that this one is going to get the job done. If you're saying that you want us to go hunting around for that exact tractor,
It's just my question. It's just,
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
a good
not saying
question.
I'm not saying that it's not the right tractor for the
Right.
job. My question is, just because we got 3 bids doesn't mean
Right.
that they're 3 equal bids, because
Right.
they're on 3
so,
different pieces
right,
of equipment.
and the answer
That's
to
all.
that is, you know, whether it's a Ford, whether it's a Chevy, and I don't know, pick another car.
Right.
In an area like this, one specializes in the Ford, one in the Chevy. You don't have 5. We can go hunting around, but you know, compared to the other similar types of tractors, and you're right, they may not be exact, but this one for the price.
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
I think I'm sure that you did or
Yep.
John did the proper protocol going through it. I would just ask that if you're going to compare,
Yeah.
if you're going to compare equipment that we're going to get, make
Right.
it apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
I
Because, you know, and that's all I'm
understand.
saying. I mean, the company thing is hard enough because it's hard to find companies that sell
Exactly.
these close around here without shipping one from Florida or something. I
Exactly.
can understand that.
And that's what we're dealing with, Tom.
But yeah, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify it. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, it's a good question.
And having bought some Toro equipment, I don't think you get a different price. I mean, they're pretty tightly controlled if you go to one vendor to another. Toro controls their prices. I'm sure John Deere does and everybody else. So I understand what Tom's saying, but I don't know, you know, having 3 Toro dealers, you're probably going to come back with the same price. What?
John, is this also replacement?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
this is replacement. It wasn't in the budget, but it definitely is replacement.
Thank
In
you.
fact, if I get to go ahead tonight, nobody's going to bring the piece that we have there to auction, try to get some money for it, but it's pretty much worthless.
Is there any other discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no unfinished business, new business. Colette, on the, some discussion on the review of the bylaws?
Yeah, this is something that came up in the executive council also. The topic is a recommendation from Bylaws and Resolutions Committee for the board to conduct a review of our bylaws for areas that may be in need of revision. concise statement, the Bylaws and Resolutions Advisory Committee included in their recent annual report the recommendation that the board consider directing review of the bylaws with consideration for revision. Background, it has been more than 12 years since the current bylaws were approved at the 2008 annual meeting. Areas that the committee suggests bear review and potential revision include various issues related to the election process, the requirement that a search committee be appointed, the meaning of in good standing as it applies to member qualifications for various actions, and the meaning and processes related to informal action by the board. Our legal counsel has over the past several years also suggested need for us to review our bylaws with consideration for revision of sections that require it. So my thought, I'm not the liaison for bylaws, but I discussed this with Cammie, who is the liaison. She was not able to be here tonight. And I'm suggesting that a work group be formed that would include Cammie and Doug, who was formerly part of the liaison for the bylaws. And I think you served on that committee.
Yeah,
at one
I was the
time.
chair of that committee.
Yeah, that the two of you provide leadership for this effort.
Doug?
Yeah, actually, I would relish the idea. We've had this kind of as a peripheral discussion for the past couple of years. As a matter of fact, it even went as far as including taking a look at the DRs and noting the differences between the different sections, especially when we were having discussions about fines and so on and so forth. So I think it's a very opportune time. Quite frankly, I'm encouraged and would look forward to working with Cammie and Jim Trummel and the rest of the Bylaws and Resolutions Committee to kind of really identify those kinds of things, because we've run into, over the past couple of years, instances where there needed to be a clarification of the language, both in the bylaws and in some cases, some of the resolutions. So I think now is probably a very good time to do so. I think we've got some momentum on that. Certainly, I'm looking forward to serving on that and would certainly welcome the opportunity to do so.
Any other comments? I agree. If Doug and Cammie and Jim Trummel can be the three that consist of the work group, and then get whoever else you need involved. Obviously, we're going to want this reviewed by council too, when the finished product, so we make sure we're covering all the areas that they believe we need to update the bylaws on. Okay?
So noted.
Great. Okay, I have a motion regarding our trash removal bids. The motion is having received 2 bids on trash removal, on the trash removal contract for OPA. I move the board to allow General Manager John Viola to continue negotiations and conclude the contract with the vendor he chooses. An RFP was sent to, RFP was sent to 8 trash vendors with 2 returning bids. There's an indication that further negotiations can occur. The general manager is in the best position to obtain the best pricing for OPA and should be authorized to conclude negotiations based on the existing bids. And the discussion, the object is to obtain the best possible pricing for trash removal for the residents of Ocean Pines. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Doug?
Just a point of clarification, and it's just a little bit of wordsmithing on my part. I'm reading the way the motion is written. It says negotiations and conclude the contract. Okay, so I want to understand what conclude the contract means, because if it means, is conclude meaning present the bid to us, that he's recommending, or is concluding saying he's going to go through all the, the authority, which I believe that as much as we would love to have that happen and to make it streamline the process, the board needs to be involved in it. Is there a clarification on that? I just want to be certain.
Yeah, and you're right. I think the idea is for John, we have the 2 bids, they're close. So I want to give him the authority to go ahead and finish negotiations and then come to us for the final approval. And if it's done quickly, John, I don't know if when the contracts expire, can it wait for approval for the December meeting, or are we going to have to do an electronic vote?
We could do December, but then that's it.
Okay, good. Then let's go ahead and finish it up and then bring it to us in December. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, we have appointments. Ann Shockley, first term for golf, and Don Nederostek, is that how it's pronounced? I hope we're pronouncing it right. First term, Budget and Finance. You have a motion to approve these appointments?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have two motions to go into closed session tonight. Colette, will you read the first motion, please?
At a meeting of the Board of Directors of Ocean Pines Association Incorporated held on this 19th day of November, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the Assateague Room of the Ocean Pines Community Center, the board voted to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing matters pertaining to employees and personnel, specifically pertaining to the general manager's annual performance review as permitted by the Maryland Homeowners Association Act, Section 11B111(4)I.
Before I ask for a second, can I ask Colette for a friendly amendment to your motion to add to this motion section III to include consultation with legal counsel on legal matters?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion as amended?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we have another motion. Excuse me. At a meeting of the Board of Directors at Ocean Pines.
Approve them.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I skipped that.
Okay.
Okay, so we approved the friendly amendment. Is there a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the next motion for, to go into closed session is at a meeting of the Board of Directors of Ocean Pines, Inc., held on the 19th day of November. That should be the 18th day.
Yes, that's my mistake.
18th day of November, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the Assateague Room at Ocean Pines Community Center. The board voted to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing matters pertaining to employees and personnel, specifically pertaining to an employee complaint regarding director ethics and conduct as permitted by the Maryland Homeowners Association Act, Section 11B-111(4)I. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Discussion.
Did you want to discuss?
Oh, I'm sorry, was there, I didn't,
The process?
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Frank, let me let Colette go first. So she,
That's good. She's answering the questions I sent
there you
to her.
go, okay.
Okay. So since this is new territory for the board, we asked OPA counsel Jeremy Tucker to investigate the complaint and provide guidance on the process for addressing it. In our closed session tonight, we will review Mr. Tucker's report and his guidance for handling it. Our options for remedying a violation if the board agrees that one is found, as well as any legal exposure involved. The final step in the process of handling a violation of Resolution B08 is to hold a public hearing. We expect that at the end of our closed meeting tonight, we will be able to give more information about a public hearing if it is decided one is needed. We have scheduled a hearing for 4 p.m. on Friday, November 20th in the Assateague Room, pending the outcome of tonight's meeting.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will adjourn to the boardroom for the closed session.